Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
And this is just about right. Call the special meeting to order. Discuss, approve, or disapprove resolution R24-2020, resolution in support of Aransas County Navigation District expansion of Rockport Harbor through its development of a new deepwater marina. Thank you, Malcolm, for showing up. I probably should have done a little more research than I did before I called this meeting. So we've got some questions that are going to need to be answered. That's why I asked you to come here. So you want to begin?
Okay, any questions? Can I give just an overall view of what this
Why don't you do
is
that?
all about?
Why don't you do that?
This is to provide the necessary funding to complete a, as the judge said, a deep water transient boater marina. 60 slips, boats up to 80-foot length will be able to dock there. Transient boater marina, we have already received $1.5 million called the big grant. But in our engineering, which is complete, the totals to build not only the marina, but the onshore facilities came out to just about $6 to $6.5 million. This would include the marina, the bulkheading necessary, restrooms onshore, all the facilities necessary onshore, power, water, the whole 9 yards to fully support that marina. Well, what will the marina do for Aransas County? I think the judge was at a meeting a couple of years ago when the POCO tournament wanted to know if we would like to have them down here. And of course, at that time, we did not have a marina to support such a fishing tournament. In working with them, however, we have designed this marina specifically so that tournaments, their tournament, and or any other fishing tournaments like it, would have all the facilities, the size of the ships, all the power requirements, everything that they would need to come and hold tournaments, deep water tournaments here in Aransas County. Now, leave that there. How much money will that bring into the county? We can make estimates. These people who own 40 to 80-foot yachts are not what you would call, they're people of means. We would expect them to come and spend a lot of money when they come for this tournament. They're probably not going to eat at McDonald's. They may want to get off their ships. They want to stay at some of our hotels. But I would think over a period of time, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over a period of time would be brought into the county by these wealthy people visiting Aransas County, and we don't get that now. What else does that do? Well, as you know, we have 5.5 acres that belong to the district, not counting what the Bass property owns, who we are going to develop. Our first choice is to develop this property after the building of the marina, which is a requirement that everyone who has spoke to us, if we're going to get maximum coverage, maximum cost for our property. I've had 2 developers show me their plans, and each plan contains a 75 to 100 room boutique hotel of the scale and of the type which will appeal to those people who own those yachts. Associated restaurant, associated ship store, associated various types of retail outlets, all on that acreage. Now, it's become also obvious, the Bass family is in no hurry to develop their portion of the property. I've been told by them, hey, you guys develop yours and we'll jump on board. I believe that is their statement, and I can understand why they're saying that. So it is my opinion that if we actually begin, we build the marina, we do the RFP, we bring in the developer, and he begins to do what he's going to do, then the Bass family will also begin to develop their portion of the property. Well, once again, good question. What is that going to mean to Aransas County? Well, of course, all of that, retail outlets and all of that will be taxable. So the tax base will broaden, which I think everyone here in Aransas County, the city, needs. The estimates I got was that there would be permanent jobs to man the restaurant, man the hotel, and any of the other outlets. And this is, of course, an estimation of between 150 to 200 people, of which approximately 25% would be management positions. And if there's one thing I believe we need here in Aransas County, because of Harvey and other things, is more jobs for the folks, more jobs. So how much money will that bring in? Once again, it's an estimate. I'm going to let you, I think, realize that if we create that many more jobs, that type of fishing tournaments coming into the county, it's going to bring a lot of economic development and a lot of money into Aransas County. If we were to get the $5 million is what we're decided that we're going to ask for, we would have enough money to begin the project now. Another thing, the project is fully engineered. We have already have all the permits. We've already done all the dredging necessary down to at least 10 foot to enable these boats to get in and out. All of the engineering is basically complete. So how long would it take for the district to let out the RFP, begin the actual construction of the marina, which we don't need an RFP for, and develop the restrooms, washrooms, and the support facilities? A matter of months, because it's done. We're just waiting for that money to do it. So I believe that the RDDA grant would be a real benefit to the citizens of Aransas County. We put in for it last year, did not make the final cut. Who can predict the future? I'll just say that we brought in Mr. Gilbert Salinas, a friend of Mr. Mario Martinez, who he's written many successful UDA grants, and we're in conference with him how to best shape ours to give it the maximum potential of success. Okay, any questions? I've kind of given you the broad.
$1.5 million that you said you'd already received.
Mm-hmm.
You received that from who?
It's the boating grant from, I guess it's from the Texas Parks and Wildlife. It's a national grant that we received right before Harvey put everything to a stop. That combined with the 5 is 6.5. It's plenty of money for us to build the bulkheads and all the things necessary. And we have.
You already spent the $1.5 million.
No, the $1.5 million is still available to us.
But you haven't actually received it yet. Say it's available.
It's committed. It's not in our bank, but it is committed. It's a done deal for that $1.5 million. In fact, they're bugging us up when we are going to spend it. So we need to spend that money.
Well, normally they put a time.
They did. We got an extension because of Harvey.
This resolution in front of us says it's already raised to a depth of 60 feet. You were mentioning 10.
Oh, no, not 60 feet. It's actually 6. Over. 6. Is a misprint there? Well, actually, it is 10 foot as a minimum. 10 foot is plenty deep to not allow those size boats to get in and out of the marina.
All these new facilities that you're talking about that will be built on navigation district property.
Yes.
That is.
Right.
That's patented property,
Yes.
so you can't really sell it.
No, everything will be on a lease.
Only the improvements would be taxable to the canal district, or you'd be leasing the property or something?
Yes, we would be leasing them. It's my understanding that, of course, the property is not taxable, but anything built on navigation property is taxable. So just the buildings itself would be taxable.
So your thought process is that these people that want to develop it would build a facility subject to a long-term lease,
Correct.
and they would maintain those properties?
Yes,
What about the marina itself? Who would be maintaining it?
we would.
You mentioned one Poco Bueno terminal.
Yeah.
So that's the only one that you had somewhat interest from?
We have had interest from other tournaments. The only one I've been involved with was the Poco Bueno tournament.
So if you built this facility and all these facilities around it, you're really only sure that one tournament, maybe not even that. Sure. At this point.
I guess there's nothing what you would say in writing that would assure us of additional tournaments. But we feel very confident that due to the type of marina we are building with the size of the slips, which is of the size necessary for deep water tournaments, Gulf type tournaments, other interests that people have said that these tournaments will come. One thing for sure, if we don't build it, they won't come. And we would be missing out on the potential.
What will you do with it the rest of the time?
Well, it will be a transient boater marina. It will be designed for large vessels. We get requests all the time in the navigation district. Can I bring my 50, 60-foot boat in for a couple of weeks? We're going up and down the coast. Sometimes we can accommodate them, but our marina is really not built for that size boat. So would it be full all the time? Well, perhaps not. But once again, that loss of, if there is any income, would be to the district. Because of course we would not be able to rent out those slips, but I think there's
The foundation that runs the Poco, is it still in existence?
still in existence, yes, but have they been having tournaments lately? The last 2 years, I believe they have not. Because they have no place that they're satisfied with having the tournament.
Well, I would agree that you would get them because I was at the meeting with them when they talked about coming down here, and it doesn't sound like there's any facility around, because to have that many boats come at one time, and of course, the concern that I would have is, are you really going to utilize it fully the rest of the time? Because you places where they have those tournaments, they basically have to move everybody out when they're coming.
All right.
And where they had it up there, they had the use of what is now a developed subdivision property, and as it got developed, the people told them they
Didn't want them
welcome
anymore.
to use it anymore.
No.
But it's been up there for.
Now, do you understand, smaller vessels that are transient, we can bring in. I mean, this is floating docks. It's going to be adjustable. So if someone comes in with a 30-foot or a 20-foot boat and they want to be here for a couple of weeks, well, we can put them over there. And so it's not always going to be full of the yachts, but being a transient boater, we will not lease any of our slips out when there is a tournament coming. So that problem you mentioned won't exist. So, yeah, there's certainly going to be smaller vessels in.
The grant that you're after right now is only going to do the docks, the bulkhead, the restroom facilities. It's not going to do anything toward stores or hotels or anything like that.
That's correct. The grant that we currently have would allow us to begin the work on the onshore facilities, the restrooms. But before we do that kind of work, we certainly need to know that we have enough funding to do the marina, because to build those buildings without a marina, although anyone can use a restroom at any time, but yet we need to be able to do it.
Not necessarily true in our case here. They've been closed for a while.
Well, yeah, but what guarantees can I give, except for the fact that we are ready to build, we're looking for money, who isn't? And we feel that not only will we get a developer as soon as we put up the RFP, and we have not because of COVID-19, and that will, everything built on AC&D property will be to support the marina in the sense that will be up to the standards that people who have these large yachts will demand. So,
Will the marina area be open to the public or closed?
well, open to an extent, because although I didn't mention it, along with the boardwalk, along with the bulkhead is the boardwalk. That boardwalk will be open from Market Street all the way down to our Rockport Harbor. So there will be public access all the way up and down that.
Masses are gonna let you put a boardwalk on?
Part of the contract, the agreement we made with them.
That was accomplished during the last one.
That's correct. And not only,
The current harbor that you have, with Rockport Harbor, are they full right now?
no,
What is your occupancy rate on that?
that would be a guess. I really don't know. I would have to have
How many
keys.
slips do you have? I can help you with the number of empty that you have.
So no, I can venture a guess, but it would be wrong. Why is it empty? Well, it's not empty. We have a lot of vessels, but obviously Harvey has still had some effect. Before Harvey, basically, we were turning boats away. We anticipate, if we ever get over Harvey, that we again will be turning boats away. I think if we build, they're going to come. But those two harbors will not accommodate what we're building here. This will be unique, one of a kind for this area here. And there'll be no competition between Rockport Harbor and
Would that marina be strictly for transient boats, or what happens if a bunch of rich people decide to move their boats from other marinas to this one and it fills up? Then what are you gonna do?
as I remember, the requirement is for at least 70% of the slips be made and kept for transient. That does leave a few slips, 30%, for people who would like to stay longer. And I'm trying to remember what is considered transient. It's not a day, it's not a week, it's a matter of weeks. So anyone who wants to stay a month with the realization that there's a tournament coming, they've got to go, can stay. And I do believe 70% is the requirement that was levied on us for a transient motor marina.
I got a couple of questions on the $1,250,000. That says in cash, so it's not an in-kind. Y'all aren't doing an in-kind
No,
match. Okay, where are you gonna get the $1,250,000 for your portion of the $5 million?
we have it.
Is that from the previous grant?
No, we won't use that. We have some.
Oh, so you have it in reserve? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
But my
money-
thought,
Is that money available to build new assets with, or is that out of your maintenance fund?
No, we have a money available to meet all of the PA requirements that we have out right now. But why spend taxpayer money on a project when we can get a grant for it?
Well, you get a grant for $5 million, but the $1,250,000 is a matching fund.
Yes, we have the funds necessary for that match,
Where are those funds coming from?
our reserves.
Your maintenance reserve.
Yes.
You know that's contrary to the water code. This is a brand new asset that you're trying to build. You know, Malcolm, I would think that probably the project has a fairly decent chance of adding to the community. But the water code requires that if you are not in a self-liquidating situation, you can't use maintenance funds to build new assets. You have to go to the public and loan bond.
Well,
I
I
don't have
think,
a problem with putting out the vote to the people.
Well, do you really think at this time the public is going to, we felt that a bond issue would have no chance of passing.
If you want to build something that the voters don't want, that's what you're saying.
I'm not saying the voters wouldn't want it. I'm saying the voters won't fund it. I think there's a big difference between those two things. And you know what? If I was a voter, which I am, and I was asked to fund something which I felt was above my station, I wouldn't really be too happy with going out and voting for it either.
Malcolm, if you turn out, if your legal counsel ends up advising you that you can't use your maintenance reserves to meet the matching funds, have you got other ideas in mind for where you might raise that money?
Well, of course, there's always the borrowing it. We have a AA rating. We could go out and borrow the whole thing. But why would we go out and borrow the whole thing when there is funds available from the federal government? I don't know about you.
We're just talking about the matching funds now.
Yes. There's a big difference between borrowing $5 million and borrowing 1.5 or 1.25.
But if you needed to borrow to make the matching fund requirement, you feel like you have the capacity to do that, it's not a problem.
Malcolm, past, I've been to a couple of ad meetings where the harbor master made comments that you got a lot of projects on bulkhead repair that need to be done.
Mhm.
You really think that right now is a good time to be borrowing funds to build a new asset when you've got all of these deferred maintenance items?
Yes, I do. We've got to have a vision. We've got to look forward to the future. We can't be stuck in the past. We have the funds, the 10% necessary from either from insurance or to fund the PA grants. We are quite frankly hoping and expecting that the state is going to pick up a portion of that 10%. But if they don't, we have the money for it. You know, we've been pretty careful about things. We've been very fortunate to be able to do work before we got the insurance funding to do it, or the monies from FEMA to do it, because we had the reserves necessary to do it. And we will maintain a certain level of reserves. That's the way we operate, the way I operate. And we're not going to extend ourselves to some degree where we're going to be short on anything. I would not support that, even in more than I will not support a tax increase. If we do not have the capability to do it, we will not do it. However, based upon what I'm being told and based upon what I see in our budget, funding is available. It's a fine project, and it will bring a good amount of economic development into Aransas County. And I think we would all agree that we need jobs here in Aransas County. We need economic development.
Malcolm, I've got just a technical question here on our resolution R24 2020, the 60 feet. It says, well, it says Aransas Bay is already dredged to a depth of 60 feet and protected by 870 foot of rock breakwater. Is the 60 feet the channel?
It may be, but I can tell you, we could not dredge the whole harbor to 60 feet.
Well, I just
was
wondering if that's wrong. I mean,
I think it's 6 feet.
It is. And the
It's a
6 foot is
typo.
wrong
It's a
too,
typo.
because we've dredged down to
I watched them dig some of it, most rock out. It's deeper than
6 foot.
6, 10.
I mean, we're not gonna spend all that money, which we did spend. And that's the other thing I didn't mention. We have funded breakwater. We have funded the dredging. We have funded the engineering. So we have skin in the game, so to speak. We're gonna build the darn thing someday, but I'm not gonna go out and ask the taxpayers to fund it. We can't get a grant at this time. Well, then I guess we'll just wait, and someday maybe we'll be able to procure the necessary funding. But I don't see why we should put off trying and seeing if we can't get this thing built and get this started.
getting back to my question,
Sure.
what does that figure need to be? Because obviously 60 feet is not correct.
No, it's 10 foot to a depth of, the way I've been told, it's a depth of 10 foot.
Okay, so if we pass this resolution, that has to be amended.
Yes, that would have to be a change.
The 870 feet is correct?
Yes.
Malcolm, is there any, have you started working on your budget for this coming year?
Not yet. However, yeah, we have, next month, we're gonna start looking at the budget.
Every year you've adopted the minimum tax, raise the same amount of money. That amount of money is $1.5 million coming from taxpayers every year to maintain the district, right?
Yes.
And that's a maintenance tax. That's a maintenance tax that this commission has to approve every year in order for you to run.
Okay.
So why would we use maintenance tax money to build a new asset? I've already told you what the law is.
Well, I'll tell you, Charlie, excuse me, Mr. Commissioner. If it is that we need to borrow $1.5 million, if it's not legal, our legal counsel tells us you can't use this money, which he has not said. But if he was, then we'll go out and we'll get the money from another source. Maybe another grant, who knows, but we'll get the money to do the job, and we'll not use money that is not legal for us to use.
Is there another, I thought I heard somebody say that the grant that EDA, Economic Development Group is applying for is a competitive grant for this, is that right?
Commissioner, I don't know. I was told that there was room to have 2 EDA grants, one for the NAV district and one for the team project. But I heard Commissioner Smith indicate otherwise earlier, so I'm not sure of the
My
details of
understanding,
that.
these were limited. One for area.
Well, that would be a question that I have because of that same question that Charlie has come up with is, if the EDC is asking us to apply for a $5 million grant for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told that getting a resolution from us isn't that important for you. But just in case we did do this, and I'm just saying, would the navigation district be interested in doing a resolution in support of ours?
Well, absolutely. Now, are they competitive? They may be. That's going to be up to for the EDA, I think, to decide. I've had some evaluation by our grant writer. He's also asked me the same question. He is actually going to speak to the EDA powers to be here in Texas, Mr. Ayala and his assistant, to see if they would consider them competitive, if it's possible to get 2 such large grants in the same small county, as they consider us small, by the way. I don't have the answer to that question yet, but certainly it is not my intention to not support the other EDA grant because it too has value. I don't question it.
Well, we
This
have,
particular project been submitted for to the.
Yes, it was submitted and we didn't make the final cut. That was the grant that the Center for the Arts received. I'm not going to comment on the Center for the Arts receiving that grant. They got it. I hope it works out good for them. I hope it works out good for all of us.
we haven't seen a resolution from EDA yet as to what they're applying for.
Mhm.
Judge, is that something that we would see before they apply for it?
Before the NAB district applied.
No,
No,
before
the other
EDA.
EDA grant.
Because the EDA, they would need a resolution from the court to support that, right?
I'm sure it's in the works.
Is that right, Judge?
You might ask the chairman over there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
sir?
I'm
So
not
you
the
did get
chairman,
in.
but my understanding is the county will be a co-applicant on the grant along with the EDC. There would be a meeting where the commissioners would hear the entirety of the presentation, what would go into the grant from the special committee that the EDC has formed to gather all the information necessary for the county to file the application.
What's the timeline?
I think the date I heard is that you'll have a meeting about July 22nd.
Yep.
That's the meeting, I believe it's set for all that presentation to occur.
And I think the actual submittal was at the end of July. I don't know.
So
if
you'd
it's
have-
a date.
But you told me the 10th, that's why. I
No, I'm
didn't have
talking
this.
about this grant, the workforce grant.
It's a different grant.
Ours is the 10th. He was speaking about the other
team-
possibly
the team
competitive,
project.
the team project.
Okay, so this is not the same grant as what y'all are going after. The team project is
Two
not the same.
separate, two
These
separate.
are competitive grants, I would imagine.
What? Okay. I'm really lost here because and I apologize for that, but whenever you say they're, Charlie, whenever you say they're competitive grants,
They have so much funds that they have, and then what they do, they value each one of these, they rate each one of these projects as to what they'll do for the community. I would assume they've got the criteria that they have. But when they reach
same pot of money.
same bottom,
Okay.
so when they run out of those funds, then there is no loss.
So if they apply for it, that depletes, what's in the pot by $5 million.
If they get it, yes.
So what we're looking at here is that if we're on the hook, or if we're supporting the project, then we turn around and support another project, we're sort of working
And I-
against ourselves to a certain extent there. I'm not saying that either one of the projects is bad, but it does.
It does,
It's a
the second,
competing-
the
it's a
second
competing
project is
grant.
already, yeah.
But as a community, we can each be supporting each other's projects and then let the chips fall where they may with the E EDA.
The EDA will have to make the final decision.
Well, we haven't seen anything from the EDA, and I'm sure that we will, but we haven't seen anything from the EDA that makes it- EDC that makes us think that we would support that or not support it. So it looks to me like, I understand the common pot, but it looks to me like what you're asking for is an opportunity to go in and get some money of some funds that are available. And so we would be choosing between whether we're doing the EDA or whether we're doing the NAB district.
Or we could support both. We
Or
don't
we
have to
could-
choose
well,
between
I
them.
would assume we would support both.
Yeah, I would assume that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Well, I think you've answered my question. We need to make the change in the first whereas to the proper footage on it. But, you know, I think if we're ever going to grow, we've got to step out, and the EDC is very, very valuable to us. But this is on the table before us now. So I'll make a motion that we,
The thing that I see about, I think they'll get the tournaments. But I think the thing that everybody, that we've all talked about is a way to diversify the economy and try to bring something other than tourism. And that's where this one falls short, that it's the same type of thing, and a storm or whatever that's gonna cut off tourism is gonna affect that just as bad. And
yeah, I understand.
between the two, that's how it, if they are compatible.
But on the waterfront, we're pretty much needs to be tourism. I mean, we're not putting factories out on the waterfront.
Well, and also, you know, another hurricane is an act of God, not an act of
People.
well, it's not an act of, well, we're gonna have one every 5 years, or we're gonna have one every, we might have 5 in 5 years, we might have,
We
No.
had before.
oh, I know that. But I think I think even though this is tourist oriented, everything, and I just don't think we can get away from that. I think we need to add to it, but that's still our base. And so I'll go ahead and make the motion to support resolution R 2420 with the change in the first whereas to the proper depth of the channel.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? All right, motion carries.
Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
Approve, disapprove accounts payable,
Thank you,
payroll,
Mel.
and payroll liabilities.
We do have one payroll that needs approved.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Budget line item transfer and amendments.
We have none.
Motion to approve. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, we'll have to watch on them, make sure they don't use the maintenance money.
I can tell you, that's the only way they've got available to them, doesn't it?
Other than a loan, as he said.
And when the chairman, the manager stands there and says he doesn't think the public will approve it. That's, to me, makes no sense.
Yeah. My only,
I would kind of agree with him. I don't think the public will vote for it.
no, I don't either.
Increased right now.
I agree with
I
you.
don't think they'd vote for an EDC either.
Yeah, me neither.
Sometimes that's why we do is lead.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.